And we're back on a special edition of Out and About today, talking with TV and radio host Cody Alan about his journey coming out. We'll continue our discussion, but first, take a look at a report from People magazine on the day Cody shared his truth.
I remember having distinct feelings early in my life. I knew this about myself, and I had a really hard time dealing with it. I was so ashamed of who I was. The South Carolina native married a woman and started a family when he was 24. He eventually told his now ex-wife about his feelings and decided to end the marriage. In the years since, Alan started coming out to his close friends and family. He tells people, quote, "You realize very quickly that people are very loving and accepting and supportive, and it's good for you to share that most sincere truth about you." After finding acceptance with his peers, Alan says he's ready to share his whole self with the public.
All right, so we are back one-on-one with Cody Alan. I tell you, what was it like when you did? I know I read where you said pushing the button was kind of hard on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter when you did that. When you did that, what went through your head?
Well, first of all, seeing that, I realized that the scariest part of that day may have been admitting my age to everyone, but
oh, welcome to the club. You're a pup around here.
No, but seriously, it was a great experience overall, but it was a little scary. I mean, you don't know how people are going to react, what they're going to say on the other side of social media, or the people who are sort of the unknown out there. You know, on CMT, I speak to an audience of viewers on the countdown, the Hot 20 countdown, and then on radio, on the radio shows. You know, there's a lot of people who call. A lot of people I hear from when I go to festivals and talk to, but you just never know what some of those people how they might what they might say, and if they might change their mind about you. And that was my biggest fear, as I didn't want people to think, okay, because I admit this, somehow the next day I'm going to be a different person, because that's not how it was, and not how I wanted it to be. Because I'm still the same Cody I was before. You just know a little more about me, and I think. You know, explaining that, helping people to understand that nothing really changes on my shows. I'm not going to ask different questions of Carrie Underwood now. Right. It's going to be the same Cody you've always known, but you just know a little more about my personal life.
Now, it was surprising, too, because we've talked with Shelley Wright and Ty Herndon and Billy Gilman about their coming out, and they said one of the disappointing things for them was the fact that not a lot of artists offered support, at least publicly, but you actually had kind of a different experience. You had some really big artists offer their support publicly.
You know, over the years, I've been so blessed to have, you know, make good friendships and have great relationships with so many people. And so I think some of that trust, you know, that has built up over time was, you know, played out on that day, so that Carrie Underwood, who knows me, felt comfortable saying, hey, Cody's a good guy, and we love Cody, and was supportive in other, you know, and her tweets and so on, and the same for Toby Keith or Dierks Bentley. Yeah, Dierks is a great friend. So, you know, these people I've known for a while, and they're interviewed so many times that I feel like they felt like it was important. And look, it's a different time. You know, 2017 is different than it was even in the 2000s, even 5 years ago. Absolutely. So there's a lot more love and acceptance, I think, that exists in general, and certainly that's reflected in the stars speaking up.
And you were married at one time. You had two kids, two great kids.
They're awesome.
So how has that adjustment been for them?
Yeah, you know, it was probably obviously what I worried about the most in revealing this news was how would it affect them. And I evolved to a point, and before I made any announcement publicly, I wanted to make sure they were ready. And so we had some great conversations over time and sort of preparing for this, and they've been very supportive, probably my biggest supporters, as is my former wife, by the way. She's an amazing person. We're still the best of friends today. So, and they're in a good spot now. I mean, they know me, and they know everything about me. And I didn't want to, I want to teach them the values that I sort of grew up with, which were integrity and honesty and having good character. And to me, lying or not being completely open and truthful with them about who I am was dishonest. And that's, you know, one of the core values that I think is so important is honesty. So I needed to get honest, first of all, with myself, with my life, and then with them, and then with the public. So helping them sort of come with me on the journey and making them a part of it, I think it's been so, you know, essential and and I'm just so grateful they're so loving and kind and good about it.
Yeah, that's great. Now, since the announcement, as you were saying, you've had a lot of great positive reinforcement response and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But did you get some negative responses, or did people confront you when they would see you out doing something on the road?
You know, I've had no one say anything to me personally on the road. And people on social media who, you know, you anticipate when you come out, there's going to be a negative reaction to some degree. But really, it was very, very light. I would say 99% positive. There was just a few people who I expect that there's going to be a few people who would comment and be negative, but for the most part, really positive.
Did you have some anticipation of what it would be like when you actually made the announcement?
Yeah.
And did it match what you expected?
I didn't know what to expect, and I honestly felt like there would be a lot more negative than there was. Because, as you mentioned, not a lot of people speak up in country music and admit this, and talk about it. And so I thought there would be a lot more backlash than there was. But overwhelmingly, it's been positive, and people have been very kind and accepting. Maybe not all agreeing. And boy, isn't that a great point we need to make, that we don't have to agree to still love and accept each other. That's what it's about.
And if you could talk to your 15-year-old self when you were first getting into radio, knowing now what you know then, what would you tell him?
Wow. You know, I like that 15-year-old self also, and I felt like my journey, even though it was bumpy and wasn't always perfect, was good for me. It molded me into the character that I am today and to the person that I am today. So I would not have changed really any of that, and I probably would have told that guy to you know, keep on keeping on. It's going to be okay. Even though I knew then what I know now,
right?
To some degree.
So the journey has been good.
Yeah.
So absolutely. So all right, we are going to have to break right now, but when we return, more Cody and what the future holds. We'll see if we can't get him to reveal some surprising moments with some of the stars when the cameras weren't rolling, and maybe some when they were. Come on back with us.